Facebook Live, one of the most effective communication tools ever built. More than 1 billion people use Facebook all over the planet, and now you can stream to it live with the click of a button. So how do you use it effectively? What's the best way to leverage this massively powerful tool? Well, today on Wirecast Live, we will be devoting the entire episode to exploring this topic with our special guest and Facebook marketing expert, Imry Smith. So stay tuned. It's going to be a fun episode. I'll be right back. Welcome to Wirecast Live. I'm your host, Imry Halevi, and each week we dive into the deep topics on Facebook, live streaming video, Wirecast, everything you need to know about marketing and going live online. We do that here every week so that we can not only practice what we preach, but bring knowledge that we may not actually have. And so we try to go out and find experts for you each week and bring them on the show. This week, I'm very excited to have a special guest who I'll announce in just a minute. But before we get to that, I do want to tell you about a few upcoming events that you might want to know about. So first of all, if you're a broadcaster or you're into broadcasting, every year there's a huge show held in Las Vegas, right in April. It's called the NAB Show. And Telestream and myself will be there. We will be demoing many of our products, including Wirecast, what we're using to stream this show right now. You can stop by our booth. We'll be at the South Lower Hall, 3316 booth number. And we'd love to see you there. If you're curious, you just want to see what we're up to, we have a lot going on here at the company. We're always launching new products and we have new things to talk about. So we'll be there for 3 or 4 days out there in Las Vegas at the end of April. I hope to see you come by the booth. Next week on Wirecast, we may have some special news to share, so I'd like you to tune in. There's no special guests. We're going to be devoting the entire episode to just Wirecast and some tutorial stuff. So if you're curious or you just want to brush up on your skills, I encourage you to stop by for the weekly show. Again, we're always live Thursday afternoons at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, and now 21:30 GMT. So if you're over in England or in Europe, it's a little bit easier. The time differential has sort of shortened now, so it should be easier for you to catch these shows. Of course, you can always watch them on demand on YouTube later. We do post the edited versions of these shows there. If you want to see the rough, unedited versions of what we did live, Facebook's the best place to go back and check those out. We are live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We should be live on YouTube. So we're good to go. If you have comments or questions, the only way we can make your comments appear on the screen is for you to tweet at us with the hashtag WirecastLive. So if you have questions for myself or Imry this episode, that's the best way that everyone can read that. Otherwise, Imry and I and some of our team here will be answering questions individually on those platforms. We'll try to keep an eye out and take those questions that way. Last but not least, 2 more things I want to tell you. We have a special webinar you can sign up for. You can always sign up for our webinars. They're more of a deep dive, and they happen usually in the mornings here. We have one called All on Vantage Social Media, and that's really how do you bridge professional premium content, whether you're in the corporate space or whether you're a broadcaster or marketer, and how do you bridge the marketing side of things. We are talking about Facebook Live marketing a lot, so I hope we are getting some of you folks here to tune in for this stuff. I think it's going to be useful for you. But this is how do you bridge those really crazy, technically complex systems with something like a Facebook or a YouTube and get the highlights and the premium clips out as quickly as you can. That's kind of important these days with the world moving as quickly as it is. So that webinar will be on March 28th, which is a Tuesday. It'll be at 10 in the morning. So I encourage you to check that out. All right, last but not least, this is going to be on April 6th, we have one more special guest I want to tell you about, Mark Alamares from Mobeon Productions, and we'll be talking about live production. He's done everything from Snoop Dogg concerts down to amazing world-spanning events and competitions. So I really encourage you to do that. All right. There's a lot to talk about this show. I want to get going with our guest. She's been very patient. Imry Smith. We normally run our show intro right now, but we're just going to skip that and get right to Imry. So I'm going to bring Imry on. Imry, if you're there, if you're tuning in and joining us from lovely California, San Diego, actually, so just sort of south of me right now. Are you there?
I sure am. Hello, Greetings, everybody in the world.
Thanks for being patient. There's a lot to get through there. And as usual with live productions, we're definitely down to the wire here today. So I'm glad you could join us. I think it's going to be a fun show. We have a lot to talk about. And
Yes, we do. I'm
while you,
happy to be here.
I don't want to step over you, but I want you to tell our viewers a little bit about who you are, what's your background, how did you become the queen of Facebook? Like, can you explain that a little bit? Because you really are. I mean, when I look around for experts on Facebook and Facebook Live marketing, your name always comes up near the top of the list. So I'm so happy you could join us and tell me a little bit about how you got that title.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I've been a longtime fan of Telestream and I've used ScreenFlow for many years and I'm really loving Wirecast. So happy to team up with you guys today and do this show for our collective audience. So my background includes a lot of years in the internet marketing world, really since starting about 1998, 99. And then I came to this country, San Diego, California from Scotland and became an entrepreneur. And I was always involved in the world of online marketing, coaching, public speaking, leading webinars, training. And I discovered that really my career, throughout my whole career, my 20s, my 30s, and so on, that I had these two parallel paths. And one is my love of technology and the internet and computers. And I'm a bit of a geek, a chic geek. And
I
then my
relate.
other path, my love of people and relationships. I love things like behavioral analysis and I love the subject on emotional intelligence and what makes people tick. And so when Facebook came along and fell into my lap, so to speak, in 2007, a whole 10 years ago, it was like a perfect storm for me. It was like these two parallel paths merged and became one. And I just fell in love with Facebook. I became an evangelist everywhere I went. I'm saying to people, "Are you on Facebook? You got to check this out." And that was long before they had business pages, before they had ad products. It was really a matter of using this technology to develop relationships with people in your professional world and to really take command, if you will, of your positioning, your branding, your expertise, and really establish yourself as a thought leader by sharing thoughtful content.
Right,
And
right.
so, I really have been practicing that, what I preach for a whole decade now. And I just love it. My passion and enthusiasm for Facebook has never waned 1 second. I have the deepest regard for Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl as well, Sheryl Sandberg, COO, and they're absolute visionaries. And I know they take flack, and we're going to get into some of the video and the live and where this is all going and how, more importantly, how our collective audience here today and watching this replay can really tap into the power of this wave of exactly what we're doing here today, Andrew, this live broadcasting. So thanks again for having me and really excited to dive into our content.
Well, I'm super excited to have you. And, I believe Facebook actually asked you to go out and train people on how to better use it, right? So tell me a little bit about what that was like. When were you doing that and how were you getting out there?
Oh, thanks for asking. Yeah, I was really honored. It was really one of the pinnacles of my career so far. It's like all these years working with Facebook and as evangelizing and teaching people Facebook and the power of it, how to monetize their business. I thought one day I'm going to work directly with Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg and I will just have like this hotline. I'm going to have this big blue phone in my desk, press a button, speed dial. But seriously, I jest. But yeah, so I actually got headhunted and selected to headline the Boost Your Business United States tour, and that was all of 2015. I was actually traveling around with the company and several others. There was a number of sponsors there too. There was Visa and Mailchimp and Zenefits, and it was really a great experience. And to be able to be in the trenches and meeting so many small and medium-sized business owners across the country that actually had had understanding they had knowledge of Facebook and its products and its ad products, but they're like, well, what's a pixel, what's a custom audience, what does it look
Just
like?
keep it.
And then people
Sorry
would
if
come
I'm
up to me
interrupting.
and get these one-on-one consultations, and they would be asking me like, well, I own a spa, I own a restaurant, I own a whatever it might be, small business. How do I get more traffic in the door? How do I get more customers? That's the number one thing. And I'm sure everybody here tuning in today, that is your top question on your mind. Why do we do all this? Bottom line, it's about more customers in the door for you. And so, yeah, that was a really awesome experience. I know I'll be doing more work with Facebook, and I love the virtual trainings as well. And but yeah, that was a really, really great experience. So,
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I'm just so impressed because, first of all, they're literally one of the most important companies in the world right now. To be able to work so closely with them, you get to kind of see how they're operating. I think that's super important. And I just, I don't know. I'm a big fan of yours, so I just want to get people to understand what you've learned so far and try to just basically pick your brain right now. So why don't we dive into our first topic? I'm going to throw up the title slide here on screen, and then we'll talk about our first topic here. So if you could sort of choose I mean, I think that you have some tips here that you want to cover in the slide deck that you made for us. And we'll throw those, just use those as our talking points for how we're going to kind of get through the today. And hopefully,
and just FYI,
if people want to stop us, they can have questions too.
Sorry to interrupt, but I actually have several more bullets to go through on my own screen. So I think I have about 5 slides that I sent over to you, and I can kind of cue you up when to share those.
Perfect.
But I'd like to start, if you don't mind, Andrew, is like really kind of laying the groundwork for people to understand what are some, like, for instance, some digital video stats. Would that be okay?
Yeah, why don't we start with that? That would be great. So why is this important? And let's talk a little bit about what's the state of the market today? Why should people be thinking about live, and why should they be thinking about video?
Yeah. So these are hot off the press, my friends, and I'm really, really excited to share, just the broader, we see, like Facebook, like it's funny because I got my phone here and I'm just checking the stats on my phone right here. And as many folks know, that Facebook has actually come out with a dedicated video news feed. They call it a tab, and it's a little play icon at the bottom of your Facebook app. And Facebook is really moving quite aggressively towards all video and all mobile. So let's take a broader look, not just Facebook, but let's look at like digital video stats. Now, this is from live streaming. Live streaming, one of the I was like the grandfathers, one of the fathers of this industry, if you will, one of the leaders for a long, long time, major concerts, events, you name it. And these stats, so live video is more appealing to brand audiences. 80% of viewers would rather watch live video from a brand than read a blog. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's 8 out of 10.
Right. Now, Andrew, I got to tell you, one of my, quote, pet peeves, if you will, when I look on Facebook and I see so many companies, media companies, brands, and they share an article about video or about live, and yet they're sharing it as a link post. And I'm like, well, how can you be talking about video? You need to make a video version of that blog post, highlight a few key points, use a great tool, like shout out and a great plug from my friends at Adobe Spark or Animoto, or there's many other video tools. Make a 30-second video version, and then that way at least your content is going out as video, right? So 8 out of 10 would rather watch live video from a brand. And then another stat for you, Andrew, is that 82% prefer live video from a brand to social posts. Now that's just really anchors the point I just made. Like if you've got obviously visuals, this is great, you can do that. Now, a couple of other stats. By 2020, traffic from online videos will be 80% of all consumer internet traffic. That's a stat from Cisco. So the year 2020, which is only 3 years from now, right? 80% of all consumer internet traffic is going to be online videos. So it's like if you didn't think you got to include video in your marketing,
right?
Before now, you got to.
Well, and I've even heard they've had to keep revising those stats because they keeps getting faster. They're like, oh, by 2020 it's going to be 60%, by 2020 it's 70%, and they just keep having to up it because they're just kind of blown away at how fast, how rapidly video is growing across the entire globe. It's incredible.
You're absolutely right. And then let's marry those stats, Andrew, with the digital video ad spend. So by 2019, 2 years from now, and these are from eMarketer, that US digital video ad spend will be $14 billion, nearly half of which, almost $7 billion, will be mobile video. So mobile video, that's digital video ad spend. And I compared that with the size, if you will, in revenue of television ad. I've seen numbers from anywhere from 70 to 90 billion dollars in the US only for television ads.
Mm-hmm.
That is the market that Facebook in particular and others like Amazon, like Netflix, like YouTube are quotes going after,
Right.
because we're moving more towards this mobile video world. We pick up our mobile devices, we look at and we can consume content in short increments. Oh, by the way, I saw this is I don't know if anybody else has seen this. Facebook is testing a a feature, come back and watch this video. So if you start to watch a video in your newsfeed and you don't complete it, you
Right.
might start seeing a little reminder pop up and
Come
go,
back.
oh, hey, Andrew,
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
watch this video.
Resume, right? Yeah, it's like it's totally funny how that they and it's wise because they can keep track of those videos. The content can stay fresh longer. It can be monetizable longer. There's a lot of reasons why they'd want to include that, and I think we started to first see that when you kind of had cart reminders, right? Like, hey, you left some items in your cart. Wouldn't you like to come back and finish your checkout process? So it's the same thing. In the sense, the video is Facebook's cart. And they're only adding more and more features in order for advertisers and companies to monetize that content and to share in the revenue, and a la YouTube. And I've heard they've already announced that they're experimenting with in-stream advertising and breaks,
Absolutely.
advertising breaks.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you might see shows like ours say, okay, we're going to cut to break for a break from our sponsor or something. So it's just incredible how quickly it's moving. And you're so right on about the fact that they are directly got their sights aimed at the industrial advertising complex, the traditional broadcasting advertising, because those dollars are getting shrinking and moving over to the online space. It's pretty incredible.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. Let's go on, if you don't mind. I got some more Facebook video stats, and
Uh-huh.
then let's see, what is the first slide I have you? Oh, maximizing video reach. Okay, so
Right.
I'm going to share some. We're not quite ready for that one just
Okay.
yet, but
Okay.
Facebook video stats. So Facebook video
Mm-hmm.
posts has increased by is increasing. What? That's I'm reading my stats here. By 94% annually in the US. Holy smokes. There are 100 million hours of Facebook video views.
Wow.
Okay, so users are viewing 100 million. They started to count them in hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
By day. It's really interesting. And I know Facebook's been in the news a little bit about over the last year or so about their video stats, right?
Right. Right.
Know that the 3-second autoplay counts as a view. It's
Mm-hmm.
much longer on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
but we typically go 3 seconds. We'll talk later in the show a little bit about how folks can really gather up video views much longer and do that retargeting, those engagement custom audiences. But yeah, so 3 seconds counts as a view. Autoplay, Facebook is testing autoplay with sound on. I
Mm-hmm.
am personally not a fan of autoplay sound on. I want to opt in of whether I'm going to play it with sound or not. The good news is if you have your phone in silence, for example, then it's going to emulate that.
Respect that. Right.
Brand new stat. Let's share this one, Andrew. You might have seen it or heard it the other day. It just came out on Facebook. They had been doing some studies in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and also the UK, and doing what do they call that word? I forget the word, but it's eye tracking, right? So it's
Right. Okay. I
eye
understand what you're saying. Eye tracking, eye targeting, following where people are watching on the screen.
Yeah, and they discovered Facebook is directly from Facebook that on Facebook and Instagram, people gaze 5 times longer at video than static content. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. So
Yeah,
and
I'm noticing that in my own broadcast. I'm always surprised, and even in my own habits, if there's a video, just how much longer I'll just check in. If there's something to watch, it's much easier for my. There's something about video. It's like it unlocks a little secret key to the brain, and
yeah,
it just tracks right into our frontal cortex because we're so accustomed for movement. That's what just activates these sort of biological systems that are deeply entrenched just through evolution in our brains to just respond to. And so it makes sense that the content people want to watch is that which is most natural for them to, and that's stuff that's moving and engaging them directly.
that's so true. Even on that note, Andrew, like not, I don't know how many, maybe a year or 2 years ago, Facebook introduced a profile video, 7-second looping video for your personal timeline, personal profile picture, and your Facebook. Now, if folks see my profile or my page,
I
they'll see
saw
I have little
that. I did.
sparkles or bling or whatever, but you could
Yeah.
do anything. You could animate your logo. And to your point, Andrew, is so true that our brain just goes, whoa, I saw some movement.
Yep.
What is that? And you just get drawn right into it. It's really, really interesting. But yeah, that autoplay sound on is so funny because Facebook actually said, I think about a year ago, they said even though 80% of users react negatively to autoplay sound on, they're still testing it out. Well, the
Interesting.
bottom line takeaway for that, by the way, for everybody here is adding captions. So
Mm-hmm.
one of my top takeaways here today, folks, is when you're done with your Facebook Live, ideally you want to go in and go and also your uploaded videos that Facebook has this wonderful caption generator, or you can have your video transcribed, you can upload the captions, and people will actually increase the watch time. I'm seeing stats from 12% to 25% increase watch time when you add captions.
Really?
Pretty
Wow, that's
awesome.
fascinating. So, funny story on that. I used to hate captions. I mean, I like to watch foreign movies. I like subtitled movies. I had no problem with that if it was in a different language. But I always thought it was a distraction if I could understand the movie or the film, that I didn't need them there. And then of course my wife and I had kids, and suddenly we had to keep the volume really low in the house, to stop if we were trying to watch a movie or hear the dialogue. Of course, my hearing's gotten worse as I've gotten older too, since I've had kids. So now I can't watch a movie without captions. I need to keep them on like all the time. Even if I can hear the volume, I still like to have the captions kind of at the bottom of the screen. It helps me process the information better, both auditorily and then visually, and then I kind of get the whole picture. So that's
Oh,
kind of interesting. And I noticed one of your early tips was, if you plan on having people A, watch your videos longer, and B, watch them on a mobile screen, you better include captions, because 9 times out of 10 those videos don't play with sound. And now of course they're changing that, but if people are in silent mode, you need to have a way for them to understand what's happening on the screen, even if there's audio or not, right? And that's where
yeah,
captions come in.
and kudos to you guys. I know you have a whole team that's supporting you there, which is awesome there at Telestream Wirecast, because visuals and lower thirds and transitions, and so it just makes a difference. People are thumbing through their news feed, and the more well produced a broadcast looks, feels, sounds, the more likely people are to be drawn in and want to watch longer, which is the name of the game, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so there is absolutely a place for doing impromptu, informal, selfie type Facebook Live broadcasts. Facebook
Right.
certainly wants us to do that, possibly a little more on our profiles, but also, the goal here is to get as 300 concurrent 300 viewers at the same time, because then now you can monetize. Now you can start placing those ads in there, or Facebook will place them in there for you. I've seen a little bit, in my inner circle, we talk about this, and I know that a few of my folks in Australia, for example, have seen those, and it's really interesting. It's going to take a bit of a learning curve for the users, because for example, like you say, Andrew, to your point, here we are broadcasting live. Could you imagine if it's like all of a sudden, boom, stops, and then everybody watching is going to say, whether you're watching right now in the live or you're watching the replay later, we interrupt this broadcast to bring you this ad, and it's going to be a different ad run for about 20 seconds, and it's going to be a different ad for every viewer, because obviously it goes by the targeting. But people will get used to it, because that is what television is. And so,
Absolutely. I
yeah.
think you're totally right about that. And we do try to do as good a job we can. And I don't want people to think that's a barrier. If you start with where you're at and you do what you can, and even you'll always be improving, always getting better. All
Yeah.
right, so I do want to give you a heads up here on time, because
Yep.
normally we were planning to go for the full hour, but because we had to go to our backup plan B, I think we have 40 minutes starting at 2:30. So we have about 16 minutes, and then I can send you another meeting invite. We can keep going. It just would be a little break. We could have a little commercial break while we fire up another meeting. But for now, I just want to be aware that about 2:10 or 3:10 is when we'll have a stopping point.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to dump into that. The first visual that you have there for me,
All
I've
right.
got a lot of visuals on my screen, but the one that I shared with you,
Yeah,
perfect.
maximizing your
See
video,
that.
Facebook video reach. And I think one of the key points of this slide is that you really need to choose something that engages your audience, right? Choose a topic not only that engages them, but engages you. Because if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to do a good job, right?
I love that. That's a great distinction. That's a really great distinction. And you're absolutely right. So what I call a hot topic, now that has to be something there's a need for it. There's a market for it. Obviously the business that you're in for, most people here tuning in, hopefully you have a great business, that
Right.
you love the product, you love the service, and you're very passionate about it. If you personally are not, and yet maybe that, how can I say this in the most tactful way? You may have someone in your company. Let's say you have a decent sized business, decent, whatever decent is, just define that, Mari. You have a team, right? It's not just you,
Hmm.
and then you have a team, a small team. That's just fine. And you want to identify someone who can be an internal brand evangelist or external as well. Both are wonderful. For example, Andrew, in the role that you are in for Telestream, is fantastic. It was really wise of Telestream to have an ongoing, consistent host, if you will, to do these lives. So, and then the topic right now, obviously, we're talking here today about
Hmm.
Facebook Live and maximizing those videos and monetizing, get more reach. And so this is very, very timely. I have in my second bullet there, the orange one, think thumb stopping. That is what Facebook calls thumb stopping, when people are thumbing through their news feed on mobile. Remember,
Hmm.
almost 90% of users are accessing Facebook predominantly on mobile. So you want them to go scroll, scroll, scroll. Wait, what? What was that? Right? You want them to go that. Wait, what moment? Then obviously, exactly as Andrew and I did for this show, we're setting the date and the time. You can schedule your live. Facebook lets you do that up to 7 days, only if you're using a third-party software. You can't schedule your lives like on mobile and then just go live on mobile, but you can through third-party. Obviously, Wirecast being one of them. Now
Right.
then, what Andrew and I've done over the last 3, 4, 5, 7 days is taking that URL, which is the permalink, it's this timestamp of the live scheduled post. And I don't know if anybody noticed here, but we actually did this on Telestream Wirecast's page and my Mari Smith page, one with the blue check, my actual like page. And so we are simultaneously broadcasting on both Wirecast page and my page. And then I took that URL, I sent it out by email, I tweeted it, I even embedded it. Folks could even check out Mari.live. I just ran a test page. It didn't really drive people there yet, but it's Mari.live, and you can see this very video embedded over there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then exactly that point there. And then final point there, because video is so hot in the newsfeed, you want to even do a video post, short video post, to promote the upcoming live. So this is where you want to just press that button and go, okay, I'm live. Oh gosh, where's my viewers? Think about it strategically ahead of time and really maximize that build up.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I love the fact we're breaking new ground with this broadcast. You and I had talked a little bit before this show that we wanted to push the envelope a little bit. So part of that was seeing, okay, what if can we simulcast this to both your Facebook page and your audience and to our audience? And we were able to do some experimenting and some testing, and we pulled it off. I think that's really, really cool. So hopefully your fans are getting a lot out of that. Actually, I'm going to pull up the Facebook feed here so I can kind of check in with ours. But let's pull up the next slide here and go on to the next topic, which is really all about how do you monetize Facebook video with ads. And so that's really what I think we can talk about next here.
Perfect. So, and to be clear, I do have, just to let everybody know, we have coming up, don't go anywhere, we have a Facebook Live audience conversion. So the audience conversion, that's where you're going to monetize your Facebook Live audience and your audience at large with your offers. What I'm going to talk about right now on this particular slide is if you want to share in the revenue with ads in your video content. That's both video, uploaded video, lives, and lives that are already been live, which is the same as an uploaded video, really. And it's works exact same as YouTube. So
Mm-hmm.
here are the parameters. It's available right now only in the United States. You need to have 2,000 followers either on your page, or you could do it on your personal timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Some folks might have noticed they have new video insights on the personal timeline. You do a video there and you're going to actually see stats. That's because Facebook's bringing ads to the personal timelines as well, or it's coming if you meet these parameters so
Mm-hmm.
far. Now then, your video, as it says right there, has to be 90 seconds, and the video needs it needs to be rolling for 20 seconds, and then an ad would kick in. For live video, it's slightly different. You must be broadcasting for at least 4 minutes, and you must have 300. Now, concurrent means not aggregate total over the whole video. It means at the same time, 300 at the same time. Um, ads are 2 minutes apart, and then the revenue shares you see right there, 55% to the publisher and 45 to Facebook. So I think it's really quite generous. I'm optimistic. I'm pretty bullish on where this is all going, Andrew. I think it's going to be awesome.
That's great. I think that, like I said, if Facebook and YouTube and Periscope and Twitter are kind of the new NBC sort of broadcast channel, right? I mean, NBC and Fox and the rest of them will become content owners, and they will obviously always still be making shows and probably still broadcasting. They have their governmental access to that, but this is really where people are beginning to consume. And so in a sense, the new distributors are becoming the Facebooks, the Googles, and the Twitters and so forth. And I think that is we're obviously just seeing the maturation of that, and next we're seeing the business model sort of being built out. And obviously Facebook and Google are already way ahead in that, so it's pretty interesting. And I think there's a lot of scared previous old school systems and makers out there that are having some trouble kind of figuring out that this is kind of the new reality, and maybe they need to change the way they do business now going forward. So you got to get in touch with this stuff. It's not going anywhere. It's only getting bigger. So let's pull up your next slide. I want to pull up and talk about crowdsourcing your content. I think this is a huge one because it engages your audience. It brings more people into the process. It becomes more of a dialogue with your fans or your customers, and it actually gives you more content that more people can relate to and share. So there's just a win across the board on this stuff.
Yes, indeedy. So, what I love to do is AMA, ask me anything. Now, I'm the kind of person that my brain responds to questions. I love questions, and I have been hosting these Ask Me Anything sessions on my own Facebook page roughly about once a week. And actually, I was just speaking at Digital Marketers Traffic and Conversion this past weekend, and I did my session, and then I also did a separate Ask Me Anything, and it was awesome. The questions from the audience were such a diverse and wonderful range, and really brought forth a lot of great content. So I really strongly recommend that all of our viewers here today, and business owners and broadcasters, publishers, that you don't be afraid to reach out to your audience and go, what do you want to know? What do you want to learn about the industry, about your niche? It could be about your product, your service, your company. How can we improve, that kind of thing? But more than likely, it's about your expertise. Now, I do give a little shout out there to the BeLive.tv app. One of the reasons I like them is they have this ability to put the Facebook comments on your live. You tap a little button and it pops right up onto the screen real time as a lower thirds. It's a great little feature. You could also do a poll. I know Twitter has a poll feature, right? You can conduct a poll. Perhaps you want to set up a survey like a Survey Monkey, so that you can send that out to your email subscribers. You could have a private focus group, and gets crowdsourcing. Okay, what do you guys want to know, and testing things ahead of time. And then one more, my last bullet there is spotting trends and needs on the wonderful platform. Shout out to BuzzSumo and BuzzSumo.com. They're a great content curating, content surfacing, trend discovery engine, if you will. And I love doing things with them as well. And we do some webinars and trainings and whatnot. But those are the kinds of things that you want to look and see. Where can you be like this leading edge? Here's some great content. Here's some breaking news. Here's what's happening. Exactly as we're doing here today, Andrew. This is a absolute leading edge curve, if you will, and we are on the uptick of that curve to really be taking advantage of live video as it's kind of converging, if you will, with television.
Right.
So I think if people think about the amount of times over the years that you sit down in front of the television to watch something like a main event, and you will almost always, you're going to have what's called a second screen in your hand, whether it's a laptop, a notepad, an iPad, or obviously a mobile phone, a smartphone. And what's happening where all this is converging, if you will, is that the first screen and the second screen are merging and becoming one. And what I'm really excited about is when those buy buttons and those donate and fundraising buttons, but for nonprofits, but obviously for profits, is really almost like QVC or HSN, Home Shopping Network. You're doing, you could do a live auction. I'm seeing some amazing stats coming out of China with China's WeChat app, where many of the users, millions of the users, and they're showing off all kinds of products, and then doing real-time auctions. I've heard of realtors doing some real-time auctions with their live broadcast. So it's
Wow.
really an exciting time.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah, and of course, all this right around the corner is going to be the actual maybe experience of being there in the room with either 360 video or virtual reality video,
Yes.
augmented reality. I'm very excited for when the holographic type technologies just integrate with all the work that's already being done right here with the two-dimensional video, because all those principles are still going to apply. It's just the spatial representation is going to change a little bit, but all these techniques will still be just as relevant and are kind of getting, I kind of like, like to think of it like when, technologies, they obviously grow in stages, and black and white film was, back in the early 1900s was when people were perfecting the art of image composition and making moving pictures. And they took all those lessons they learned and they were just getting really good at them. And then color TV came along, but that didn't keep their techniques being completely irrelevant anymore. They could transfer those, and you keep moving forward as the technology keeps pacing, But of course, content and engagement is always going to be the number one priorities. All right, so we could take a break real quick and take a few questions. We have a couple minutes here, I think, till our 3:10 deadline. And I did send you another meeting invite. So if we want to hop back on, we can do that with maybe just a brief interruption.
And just to let everyone know, the stream will still continue here.
Yes.
They don't need to change anything.
Yeah, you don't need to change anything. Stream's still going to continue. Mari and I are on a backup plan here. We were going to do a Skype call, and that didn't end up working out for some reason. There's bandwidth issues with either Skype servers or something. So we're on Zoom today, and Zoom is going to cut us off at 40 minutes for each, because they offer a free service, which is great, and I highly recommend it, but it's not good for in-depth long interviews. All right, Mari, so let's see if there's any comments or questions in the chat you'd like to call out. I've just got a few here. I'm pulling up on our Facebook page, but if you see one, why don't you do a shout out here?
Hang on, I'm just going to mute that. That was me. So
no problem.
I'm going to do a shout out to some people. Hello, Nancy Mirland, Susie Cheel, Lisa Nichols, Lisa Garcia. That's awesome.
I see a few fans here too. Wes, Woodland. Wow, that's cool.
Hi, friends and fans.
Claudia, good to see you. Claudia's very interested in how you're going to use captions, and she really wants you to dive a little more into that. So I think we could do that after the break. Okay. And then Zoom is a great backup plan. Yes, it is. Thank you. Fabrizio, can you have more than one person doing a remote chat using Telestream Wirecast? So yeah, absolutely. You're only going to be limited by the technology that you're using for the conferencing. So we're using Zoom, and Zoom clearly easily allows for multiple participants in the calls. And so the only question is, how do you then bring that image in? Currently, Mari is on my desktop through the Zoom app, and then we're just piping my computer sound into our soundboard. So that's how she's getting in. But of course, if I move my mouse on the screen, let me show you here, I can actually have a mouse on the screen. So you can see if I was to mess around with my computer too much right now, then it would mess up the picture. So lots of different ways to do that. So Mari, why don't we, if you see a question you want to answer, why don't we do that, and then we'll take a quick break and we'll resume with a new meeting call.
I will. There's so many things here.
Or shout outs, anything you want to do.
I'm looking at mobile and I'm looking at desktop. There's so many places. And Nancy just mentioned that Indeed Be Live has just brought out 3-person chat. There's so many options out there. I know there's Blue Jeans as well. There's up to 25 people.
Nice.
I will, of course, we're on Telestream's Wirecast.
Wirecast, right.
And just so folks know, I mean, it really is the most robust and professional level, professional, like TV studio quality broadcasting platform. There's no other app that can do what Wirecast can do. So I know there's a lot of other ones out there, and I like playing and experimenting with a lot of them. But what we're doing here today, and I love how you have Andrew's actually on a green screen. I don't know if you know this. I'm sorry if I'm giving away
my secret. Yeah.
But
no.
I see the screenshot that I see is Andrew on a green screen, but you all see this wonderful blue Facebook connected background, which looks really lovely. And I know, as I say, he has a team that's handling the switching and whatnot back and forth.
Yeah,
It's
I have
really
to
nice.
give a shout out to Melissa, our graphic designer. She did a wonderful job on the background.
A
So,
quick tip too on Zoom, I actually went into the settings and I flipped my camera so that when you go full screen on me, I have some writing behind me that it doesn't look backwards.
no worries. Okay, why don't we resume? We'll take a quick break. You should have the new meeting invite through your
I
your
saw it.
email,
I'll be
and
right.
I'm gonna fire that meeting up, and we'll be right back.
We'll see you in a second.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere, people. This is going to keep streaming.
All right, so I'm gonna pull up that new meeting invite with Mari. So give me just 1 second.
And we're going to talk how to convert your live audience into
Right.
customers.
All right. So, folks, if you do have a question, again, you can tweet at us with hashtag WirecastLive, and we're going to pull that up real quick. We'll get Mari back on here in just a second. One thing that you need to be aware of is that if you are using a conferencing software and then in conjunction with software like Wirecast, you're going to want to definitely use it's handy to have some audio tools at your disposal. So if you need to say, for example, take your audio feed out of your computer and bring it back in, you might want to pick up something like a little USB audio adapter, and that can help you with things like sound routing and issues where you may have a problem. I typically recommend doing the meeting, whether it's Skype or something like that, on a different, whether it's a Skype or Zoom or whatever, doing it on a different computer if possible. That helps just distribute some of the processing. It helps, lots of different ways you can do that. So, and then you can kind of route that audio in separately, and then the upload and the compression, because even in a conferencing software, there's still CPU resources that are going to be needed. And the more you load onto a single machine, in addition to, say, broadcasting and graphics and titles, the more you might have some issues with that. So I'm going to, let's see, host a meeting here real fast. I'm going to refresh. And I'm going to just sign out real fast here. Sign in, grab this. And let me just log in here. All right, and let me launch this next one real fast here for you guys. So if you want to see how I'm doing this, I'm going to cut to my desktop here, and you can see I have actually Mari right here on the Zoom, and I'm going to join the audio. Hit join. So Mari, you should be able to hear me now?
I do.
All right, and then folks, you can see here, if I just zoom in up here, you can see this is the green screen. It's actually just a webcam because I wanted Mari to be able to see something. It's not the camera that you're seeing me on, but again, plan Bs have to be like that sometimes. So I'm going to take this full screen, and then we get Mari full screen. She'll be right back where she's supposed to be. Okay, so we're back in action. All right, so we had left off, we were talking about Facebook, sort of the Facebook Live, crowdsourcing content and getting people involved that way. And I think we next want to move into conversion and how to really maximize your content. Like there's all these different stages of content, right? There's the pre-production, planning it out, getting your topic right, and then there's your going live, and how do you want to do that? Can you crowdsource it? Letting people know ahead of time, promoting it. This was one of our most heavily pre-promoted live streams that we've ever done. So we've experimented a lot, and we've learned a lot through that. So it was a fun process to go through, but it was that was right up just to leading to having this conversation. But now there's the sort of afterlife, right, of the content. What do you do with it once it's done as well? So there's a whole journey that this content needs to go through. And also you could talk a little bit about, to Claudia's point, or what she wants to know more about, adding your captions.
You bet. Yeah. So folks, I prepared this particular slide here for you because, again, there is a place for just picking up your phone and tapping that go live button. That is what Mark Zuckerberg wants you to do. He's calling it your live television in your pocket. Wonderful. Great. However, ever since Facebook opened up the live API in April of last year at the F8 conference, if anybody saw that, just a quick reminder, they demonstrated it with a drone coming flying across the audience and capturing Mark broadcasting on the live through the drone, right? The camera and the drone is coming, and it's like, guess what? The Facebook Live API is open. Boom. Game changer, game changer, game changer. Now you've got all of these devices and desktop platforms that allow you to go live with much, much higher end production quality, television quality, if you will, broadcasts. So that's why I want you to think about, okay, yeah, sometimes I just press a button and go live, voila, on my phone. But what if I really want to set up and do a regular show with some great B-roll and some great lower thirds and some outtakes and some blooper reels, and that you could have this whole system. And again, that's what Wirecast is really great at doing. So what I'm suggesting you do pre-live, we mentioned in a slide earlier, is thinking about that hot topic that your audience wants to know, and that thumb stopping. People are scrolling through and they go, oh my gosh, what? Wait, what? And they stop and they press that play, and now they're watching you. So I do recommend, now people ask me all the time, Mari, I have real specific points that I want to make. Should I script it all out? Should I just do bullet points? What about teleprompter software? The bottom line is it's going to depend on you. I recommend at minimum, exactly like I'm doing here today, is you make your key points as bullets. Whether you're showing them on screen or not, you can keep yourself on track with your bullets. You never know when sometimes in the midst of a live broadcast, suddenly your brain goes, wait, oh, I forgot that key point I was going to make. And you don't want to be like a deer in the headlights. So just even as well as you know your topic, like I do here, have your bullets, and it just organizes your thoughts and your points you want to make, and helps the viewers. So create an outline with bullets. A clear CTA is a call to action. That means during the show, you're going to periodically invite people watching the live and the replay to take the action you want them to take. Now then, this is a show here today. This is the weekly Wirecast Live show, and its main goal is to provide value and content, educational content. And Andrew and the team at Wirecast brings on guests, subject matter experts, for example, for myself when I'm doing a live broadcast. And let's say I have a special offer, I have a course or a training or an event. That's what I mean by that CTA. And you don't want to just wait to the end. Do not think because you're broadcasting for an hour that people are going to watch the whole hour and they're going to wait to the very end, and then you can reveal your call to action.
Right.
What is it? Is it like 12-minute increments, Andrew? Where that's, I think, isn't that standard on television, like 12 minutes?
Yeah, it keeps getting shorter, but I would definitely say that you do need to periodically interrupt, and just I mean that's why commercials are kind of a handy thing for that. You can have handy breaks, you can have handy segments in your show, and then at the beginning or the back end of each segment, you should have your call. I've been wanting to tell people, for example, thinking of the call to action here, is that there actually will be an ebook that we're going to be talking about we'll take all these lessons that you're talking about here and more that we didn't have time to get to today, and putting them into an ebook course that you can get. And most of the people hopefully learned about that already, but you can head over to telestream.net and get that. So that would be a great example of a call to action that I didn't bring up till 40 minutes into the show. So I'm definitely not following your rules here, but this is a good point and a good reminder. But this would be something that you might do. Maybe your call to action is subscribing, right? Or click to subscribe just so people can find you, or get notified when we're live next. All those are call to actions you'll probably see on this show more and more as we get better at what we're doing here. But Mari, these are really good points that I think anyone who's going live needs to understand, because they're the same rules apply no matter whether you're selling muffin tins, or whether you're a nonprofit that needs donations, or launching a Kickstarter, or an educational campaign or course or coach like yourself. We all need to let people know what they need to do. If you don't explain it to them, they don't know what to do.
That's so crucial. And I think this happens a lot. I see this with a lot of entrepreneurs and, small business owners, where they get afraid to ask for the sale. They've been told that, sales is salesy, and they don't want to be too pushy. And it's like, there's a really natural and organic way to do it. And when you think, like, if you are a subject matter expert, as Malcolm Gladwell says, you've put your 10,000 hours in, or more, obviously you are an expert at what you do, there is absolutely only so much you could possibly cover in a 20-minute or 30-minute or hour or 2-hour live, then people are like left wanting, oh my gosh, I really resonate with you. I want to get to, know, like, and trust you even more. What else do you have? How can I mentor with you? How can I learn from you? What can I sign up and experience where people like psychologically are saying, wow, if this is what I get for free, what would I get if I paid this person, this expert, this business, this brand?
Mm-hmm.
And I have done many years of studying, and I had mentors over the years, and several different skills that people would do well to learn or outsource are great copywriting, right? Great copywriting. Most all social posts, including the title of your Facebook Live, is good copywriting, hooking people's mind, having them go, wow, that looks amazing. I want to tune in. You'll see with most of you signed up on telestream.net/Mari, and to do this show and then the upcoming ebook with all the wonderful content and more, as Andrew mentioned. And you'll see those bullets were crafted so that you were like, oh, that looks relevant to me. I want to learn that. So crafting your offer, testing everything. Andrew and I, and even no matter how many tests you do, there's always technology. Well, I've had this mantra for about 15 years, long before I even did Facebook, because I've been doing webinars for so many years. And I'd be like, I will not be foxed by technology, right? No matter what happens, the show must go on, and it will happen. So then include the URL in the description of your live. You could do that. You could email your, as I call, your inner circle. And maybe you have a group or like people who are, more closer to you, and you're like, oh, actually what I meant by that bullet, I'll tell you what this is really cool. Let's say that you are doing, this is about monetizing, converting your Facebook Live audience into paying customers. So let's say you have your audience at large, and maybe you're doing like Wirecast is doing, where you're multiple simulcasting or quadcasting or quintcasting. Like a lot of places at once, Twitter and YouTube and so on. And then I wish Instagram would open up their API. We could broadcast there too. But what I mean by that is, let's say you're going to make an offer, and let's say it's like $499 to the public, and it's early bird special. Maybe you get 200 off or something like that. But you're going to go and email in advance your existing customers and go, hey, I'm going to make this offer, but you guys are going to get a unpublished secret deal. You can get $300 off. All right. Don't share the code. Here you go. And you can start to monetize before you even go live with your offer. It's a wonderful technique.
I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought of that. That makes perfect sense. You should reward people for being part of your, being in the know or being in communication with you.
Existing customers.
Customers. It makes perfect sense. And we do that similarly here with Wirecast. We never make, if you're upgrading from one version to the next version, we never make a full price for people who have already bought, similar to that. So I think it's very important. You should always give value to the people that are already with you or have already been your customers as a way to keep them around, keep them happy, and to give them value for their time.
It's a really interesting point, Andrew, and I was just speaking about what I call Facebook social customer care best practices at the traffic and conversion event last weekend here in San Diego. And I made this point about how if you keep your customers happy, period, you will make more money. There's just no question about it. And what happens is that so many people have been trained to go out there and get more leads, more subscribers, more prospects. And then, wait a minute, are we taking phenomenal care of our existing customers? People are already paying us, because there's studies all over the years that show it's easier to increase the sales and get more revenue from your existing customers, right?
Yeah, easier to retain them than to go get new ones. And then of course you've got to look at how often are people leaving, right? You need to leave, and that's where you should be communicating in terms of surveys or asking questions or opening up, ask me anything, things like that, so you can get that feedback to know what you can do to improve. So I'm a little curious. I'm very curious in boosting and posting, and when to boost, when not to boost, and sort of how the algorithms work. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So here's the thing, that Facebook ad algorithms treat the boost button as a, quote, lightweight ad interface. There's no question it works. There's no question you'll get more reach, more clicks, more views. However, the ads are going to be able to distinguish whether you are a fairly novice advertiser or if you're more sophisticated. So it's, and then they're actually going to give you better performance, the more sophisticated an advertiser you are. And some of those key points, those key signals will be that you use Ads Manager or Power Editor, but Ads Manager is just fine for a vast majority of businesses versus the boost button. Now you can use the boost button periodically so long as you connect that with saved audiences, custom audiences. But if you just go boost to my fans, well, what if your fans, the people who have liked your page, are not like a really great high percentage match of your ideal demographic?
Mm-hmm.
Much better to drill in there and use the targeting features. Then are you uploading your database and doing custom audiences? Do you have the Facebook pixel installed on your website? This is key and critical, and I know it stops a lot of people. Shout out to our friends at Mixpo, and Mixpo brought out a stat, I believe it was last year, that said 90% of Fortune 500 companies are not doing Facebook ads right, and they're not doing that pixel. They're not tracking conversions. They're not tracking and doing retargeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the most powerful features that Facebook offers. And now with this new engagement custom audience, and I think I have a screenshot on that if you want to throw that up there, that folks actually, slide 6, I think it is, that you can go into your ads manager and under custom audiences, you can say, hey, Facebook, create me an audience of people who viewed not just one video. You could do just one video, but you could do multiple videos, anywhere from, I mean, 3 seconds is standard, but I would recommend going a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the length of your video, it could be a 25%, half of it. The more video content that people in your audience view, the hotter the prospect they are. And you want to retarget them with additional content.
Interesting. So so this is the kind of the ads tools. Facebook has some very sophisticated tools available to you. Similar to their tools for live video are getting more sophisticated too. I was just checking out like Facebook.com/live/create, and it makes it really easy to walk you right through the creation of an event like this using a third-party software like Wirecast. But then, of course, their tools for publishing and managing live video are getting better, and of course, their tools for advertising are also getting more sophisticated. So the tools, the advertising tools, it sounds like they're really, the more you use them, the more you dive in, target your audience, upload lists of people you're looking for specifically. That can be really, really valuable and will basically key the algorithms to help you out more.
Absolutely, you got it. Absolutely. And so using the ads manager, having the pixel installed, tracking conversions as well as retargeting, uploading your database, doing custom audiences, and then the objectives that you choose. I like video views to get retargeting video views to get a warmer and warmer and warmer prospect audience, prospective audience, or audience of prospects. Then, but one of the other signals I just want to throw in there is selecting traffic or conversions, or if you have a bricks and mortar, would be bringing people to your store and like local awareness ads. But the traffic, they keep changing the name of it, but traffic used to be called clicks to website, I think, but it's basically driving people to a destination on or off. We didn't even get a chance to talk about Messenger. Andrew, I want to say this, and I know you got to wrap up here, but if I get my crystal ball out, what I am really excited about is the fusion, the integration of live video, what we're doing here today, plus Messenger, and offering up, it doesn't have to be live, but video plus Messenger, unprecedented social customer care. Could you imagine how people are so frustrated when they pick the phone up and they got the phone tree, or they email, or they're waiting for their ticket, or they're waiting for a response to a tweet or a Facebook post, versus having a real conversation with someone on a live video chat, or having a real person and going, oh, hi, Andrew, I saw you had an issue with one of our products. Here's how it works, or here's a special tutorial, or no problem to send it back to us, or something like that. People are like, whoa, I got a video from this company.
That's a really good point. I think that that would also help. I've actually noticed that I think videos sort of seeping into everything. Like we all kind of have to learn to become presenters or to make little videos and clips. Like our support department could use it. Sales people, of course, can use it. Marketers can use it. There's just no point at which a human-to-human interaction or a video couldn't help. Just about. I mean, I'm having a hard time envisioning anywhere. So last but not least, the Pixel. Can you talk a little bit about the Pixel? So for those of us who I'm a little bit behind on that. So can you explain, is that basically the new cookie? Is that basically a little piece of code or something that can help, you follow people that have been to your site or have been through, have viewed some of your content or something, so that you can kind of send more offers to them or something?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a piece of code that sits on your website, and it can go and it goes between the head tags. And if people don't know how to do this, you definitely want to talk to your webmaster or somebody technical. It's not that technical to put what's called the base code. The base code, there's even WordPress plugins. You could have somebody simply go ahead and just install that, your web person, and now you've at least got the pixel on every page. And then you can go in, and now I want people to think about this. Let's say you're driving people to a registration page of this. We were simply doing this for free. We're asking people to sign up for the ebook, or it might have been something to purchase. And so you want to have people go to that page, and now then stuff happens, right? People get distracted. They're not ready to make a decision.
Right.
They click off the page. Something happens. They get interrupted. And so the purpose of having that pixel in there would be to go and place a different kind of ad in the newsfeed of people who've arrived at one page but not another, like a checkout page, a thank you page, a confirmation. They haven't actually purchased, or they haven't actually signed up. It's extremely effective. And so just to kind of help people understand, if you've ever gone to make a purchase, like, I don't know, a pair of shoes, a camera, a dress.
Well, this is like that cart return button we were talking about, right? You left some items in your cart just earlier, or go back and view your video. The pixel's kind of the equivalent thing, but it can do any pages you want, right?
Yeah, it's going to come back by this. And let me just give a little caveat here. One of my pet peeves is companies, giant companies who shall be nameless. I don't want to throw anyone on the bus, but over the last few weeks, for instance, I had made a few purchases online, and then the very thing I bought for days and even a week or so after, I keep seeing the very thing I bought. There is a magic little custom audience called exclusions. You want to make sure that you're excluding the audience in your ads that have already become customers. You're wasting your ad dollars.
You are.
Retarget them, tracking them all over the internet. Hey, buy this. I already bought it. I don't need it again.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's happened to me several times. That's several times I've seen that. And then, of course, just doing research on certain products, looking up prices or quotes or whatever. For my job, I'm constantly having to look at equipment and things like that. And so then, of course, that equipment will follow me all over the internet, and I know that they're targeting me. But so on the flip side, the easy way to opt out of a pixel is what? Just refresh your browser. Delete your browsing history or something like that.
You can delete your cookies if you want on the user end. You want to delete cookies.
So it's pixels and cookies are interrelated. It's basically because when I'm used to the term cookie, pixel's a new one for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. However, the thing is, for those more advanced folks listening in today, go and check out Facebook Atlas. Atlas is really the whole new way of doing quote cookies or tracking, and it's done through Facebook login, because see, cookies don't really work on mobile, and with more people going to mobile, so it's going to track by Facebook login, because it's interchangeable. I might look something up on my desktop, I put it in my car, or I change my mind, and then I'm going to go to my mobile device, and I might be retargeted because of the Facebook login, not because of the pixel, and that's called Facebook Atlas. It's a whole other different kind of system, but similar. So folks want to check that out.
And like you're saying, use it in conjunction with rules like exclusions and things like that to make sure you're really actually using them correctly. Otherwise, you're not only showing your
you could irritate.
It could irritate your customers. Exactly. All right. So. Wow, there's a lot to cover. We've got even more stuff we want to talk about and stuff that we didn't have time to get into. There is one, I did want to talk specifically about captions because we kind of had to breeze over that. But, and then 24-hour rule of boosting after you're done with your content. So let's say the show is over. And then let's actually do that. We'll close out the show after this question, and then we'll kind of have at least a stopping point, and then we'll just come back on and we can kind of hang out for a few 10 minutes or 15 minutes and answer questions if you have time. So you've closed out your content. It's no longer live. Now you like to wait 24 hours before you then go in and target using the ad tools and boost with it?
I do. And so a couple things. What I do is I mentioned about, well, first of all, you want to make sure you find a good thumbnail, and you've got up to 10 freeze frames to choose. And if it's a weird kind of facial expression, then go ahead and upload a custom one. It's not critical, but I do like to have a good thumbnail chosen.
Mm-hmm.
And then those captions. Now, a hot tip for you: you might not have the time or the resources to put a full hour of captions in.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and have someone, or if it's yourself, just put the first couple of minutes, the first minute or two of captions. And Facebook has it in the generate. That's a Facebook captions generate tool. A little sneak trick that I sometimes do is I will go in and I will download the Facebook Live once it's done, and then I upload it to YouTube. I wait. Sometimes it takes a few hours, but you just get the YouTube automated caption generator. You have to make some edits, and then you download what's called the SRT file, the SRT. You have to change the name to Facebook Syntax, upload that to the captions editor, and voila, you've got your captions on Facebook.
Yeah.
Now
That's a really good trick. We use that if you need automated transcripting. You will need to. It will make mistakes, but it's pretty darn good, and it's getting better. Then if you upload it, you've got your captions pretty well figured out. And then if you're curious, I actually have some captioning tools that I will turn you on to. And folks, we have some download ones you can download for free, where you can actually auto-generate all your captions and quality check them. So it's pretty slick.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have
great.
that weird random word or at the wrong time, or things aren't coming on screen. And you can even choose whether you want 1 line or 2 line or 3 lines, and where you want them on the screen even. So there's a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, I'll send them. Telestream, we got you covered there too.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. I know, it was one of my greatest fears is that there's an accidental swear word somewhere in my transcript and I didn't catch it.
Somebody's watching you on mobile, like, oh my gosh.
And then the 24-hour part, the reason is up to 24 hours. The reason I do that, folks, is I love to get as maximum organic reach and engagement. So that's reactions and shares and comments. And then you're going to amplify the reach of that with a boosted or promoted post in your ads manager, because then when it goes out into the feed as a sponsored post, you then have that social proof. Okay, as opposed to just doing it like right away. Lives are different because usually there's some engagement on live, so you could promote it a little sooner than 24 hours. Up to you. Depends on the objective, it depends on the call to action, and what folks are up to there.
Well, I think that makes a lot of sense, because one of the first things we look at is this was viewed by 50 million people. Oh, I probably want to check that out too. People seem to like this video. So if you go out and you boost a post, then you want to see, people are looking to see, oh, it's got a lot of comments, people are really liking this. I guess I'll check it out too. It seems interesting. I know it's an ad, but it still seems interesting. So yeah, that's an interesting technique. Not something that typically people would think about. I think waiting for that time for it to become
I call it the Mari method. There's a little bit more to it. And shout out to Social Media Examiner. I actually have a blog post coming out. I think it's coming out Monday morning, just before Social Media World. Really, really excited. It's the first time I've ever fully published that exact strategy, the Mari method. So folks can find that on Monday morning.
Social Media Examiner. All right. Well, let's close out the show for today, and we'll come back and have some question and answers. Do you have a few minutes to do some Q&A?
I have to run.
Oh, you have to run. You're out of here. Okay, no problem. I wasn't sure if you had a hard stop or not, so that's okay. I will stick around a little bit and try to answer some questions. And of course, if you want to reach out to Mari, these are the best places to get you, and I'm sure she'll get back to you when she has a moment. On Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you will find her. And Mari, I just want to thank you so much for your time and being here today. This was really valuable. I'm super excited to work on this ebook with you, and we'll get that out to folks as soon as it's ready, hopefully very soon.
Outstanding. And just a shout out, anybody who's coming to San Diego next week, Social Media Marketing World, I will see you there. I'm leading an awesome session on Facebook marketing, and I'm having a special live event on the Saturday morning. Folks can find that on my profile and on my website. We'll see you there. Thanks, Andrew. You're awesome.
Mari,
Bye,
you too. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. All right, guys, that was Mari Smith, my interview with her, and it was super fun. I think we had a great conversation. Mari's, as usual, very knowledgeable, has deep experience particularly on Facebook. She knows the tools better than anyone. You can just hear when she talks, she can go, oh yeah, well that actually used to be called this, and then it was called this, and now they're doing this. So she is really one of, up to the minute people, one of those up to the minute people that really knows the platform and how to best use the tools that are coming available. And of course, she's always experimenting. So hopefully her audience found that as helpful as our audience. And we did try simulcasting that out. I'm going to stick around just for a few moments just to interact and have questions. If you have questions, I know we kind of had to pack that. But of course, if you want to kind of review this or go over this information in more depth, you should go over and sign up for that ebook. That's going to be a really great tool for you. You can head over to telestream.net/Mari and just sign up for that, and we will send you that ebook as soon as it's ready. That's really all we ask. It's an email list that you'll get on, but if you want to get off, you can get off at any time. That should be a really valuable book for you folks, because it'll really distill a lot of the content that we talked about here today in practical tips and step-by-step methods. Okay, so with that aside, let me pull up these comments real quick here and just see how you guys are doing. I haven't really had a chance to, so I had Mari on my desktop screen here, to really check in with you folks. So I want to do that. I'm going to head over to our Facebook page and pull up the live feed here. I hope this was a valuable live experience for you. We really did try to pull out the stops on this a little bit and bring you here to engage with us, to join the conversation and learn some really valuable tips as far as marketing to Facebook. And Mari's very generous with her time, and we were able to do some. Let me pull this. Hold on, gonna pull that out. Okay. So looks like everybody we've got some comments here. Robin really liked it. Great emojis. That's a lot of emojis. Thank you. Kareem, thanks for joining us. Steven, thank you. How's Mari hearing me? So Mari, because again, we had to rejigger it. Normally she would hear me from an aux send feed from our board from this microphone. In this case, I had to sort of last minute rig up a USB microphone. We use the USB Blue Yeti, and this was piped right into the Zoom software right on my machine here, my computer, that I typically use just for demos and things like that. So that's how she did it. So she was hearing me and seeing me through a separate webcam and a separate microphone. So I might have sounded a little bit more distant to her because the microphone was kind of over there. And then that's a good question. So if you do have any questions about how we do things here at the studio, we actually did a behind-the-scenes tour, a little web studio and behind-the-scenes tour. You can check that out at at telestream.net or on the Facebook page. Those would be cool. We did and we're going to be doing another one coming up because we're continually changing things here in the studio. Joy says, what's the best way to include a call to action on a live video? I would say direct address, right? There's also, of course, you can play with the buttons after a video is done. You'll find that on YouTube. That's really great. You can actually make little clips that you run at the end of things to point people to new links or new buttons, and they can click right on the video. So that's a fun way. I've not tried that with Facebook yet. This, of course, is a great call to action. You can subscribe to us. If you are curious, you want to see more Wirecast Live, we are here every week on Thursdays at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. You can find us at Telestream Facebook, Telestream Wirecast on Facebook, at Wirecast, or at WirecastTube on YouTube. So that would be a call to action. We use a graphics titling software here called New Blue Effects. So that's how you're seeing those animated on the screen, and that comes free with Wirecast. So that's how we manage all these titles, graphics, the switching, the cutting, and everything we're doing here. So it's pretty straightforward, and you can stream it straight out to Facebook. You can stream straight out to YouTube and any other destination that you can think of almost. All right, I'm going to check our YouTube friends here real fast. I want to see if there's anything I'm missing that I didn't get to there. Looks like our team behind the scenes has been great at trying to get back to you directly on the social media platforms. So shout out to Trevor. Thanks for commenting on all those and answering people's questions there while we were talking, Mari and I. Thanks to Deborah Lee in our studio, who's been having to do all the technical stuff. She's doing all the switching, doing a great job. And I want to say thanks to all of you for tuning in to watch this show. I think it was really fun. I had a blast, and there's lots more good stuff coming up. You can check it out at telestream.net/events if you're curious, and we'll try to keep things up to date there. And, of course, stay tuned on our Facebook or our Twitter feeds. Those are great ways to learn about upcoming events and shows and guests. All right. This has been another episode of Wirecast Live. I'm your host, Andrew Haley, and it is my privilege to bring the show to you each week. I'll see you next week.